Australië speelt tegen Nederland. Te beginnen met de man die de verste reis heeft gemaakt. Helemaal vanuit Australië. Hij is de Auckland Dartmaster 2017. The original K.Anderson! En dan zijn tegenstander, de nummer 1 van de plaatsingslijst, de nummer 1 op de wereldranglijst, tweevoudig wereldkampioen, viervoudig en verdedigend Dutch Dartsmaster, dames en heren, uit Nederland, Mighty Mike, Michael van Gerwen!
The world number 1, the reigning Dutch darts master, the man who has won this title for the last 4 years running, on stage to see if he can make the semi-finals. Mighty Mike has seemingly, after winning 10 titles this year, and some of them with scintillating darts, he called his victory last weekend in Sindelfingen perhaps his best ever tournament. 107 tournament average, 110 right the way through the final session. Well, he's got bored of winning titles like that. Now he wants to try and win him with like 93 averages, which is kind of what he's trying to do this weekend, because that is all he is averaging over the first couple of games. And he's been a little bit fortunate, has Mighty Mike. Terry Jenkins just didn't turn up against him and he just cruised through 6-0, but Darren Webster, well, he missed darts to take him to a last leg decider where he would have had the throw and perhaps gain a bit of revenge for his narrow defeat to him last weekend. But he has found himself in the quarterfinals once again, MVG, and there is nobody better going on and winning. It is the world number 1 versus the Australian number 2, and Chris Murphy's in comms with me, Dan Dawson, for him.
No point me speaking, the darts speak for themselves. As Michael van Gerwen opened this match with a maximum. Maybe he's decided he's going to restore a bit of order, but win a European Tour quarter-final with a 93 average, you say, Dan? Well, it should be enough, because Kim Huybrechts averaged 93.49 against Peter Wright, who had a higher average than him. Steve Lennon averaged 87.59 against Mensa Suljovic, who had a higher average than him. And Darrell Gurney averaged 93.58 against Stephen Bunting, who had a higher average than him. So it's not all about those numbers, is it? Just whoever gets the 6 legs first.
93 is the new 105.
Well, 95 is the target for Michael van Gerwen when he returns.
100, 95.
Double-double was the route,
55.
But he couldn't take it out. Kyle looking at one of the biggest finishes in the game. Treble 20, treble 17 ball. First bit done. Next bit is not done. He's not in goal. No.
Tops for the top player in world darts to get off the mark in this quarter-final. And he finds it last start in hand. Now, K.Anderson has beaten Michael van Gerwen on a couple of occasions. The most recent was on the European Tour. That was at the Austrian Darts Open a couple of years ago. In that match, K.Anderson had 3 bullseye finishes Lost that to Phil Taylor in the semi-finals, averaging 105.
Yeah.
Anderson
83.
Could, perhaps should, have beaten Phil Taylor there, who went on to become the champion in Austria that weekend.
Anderson hasn't beaten Michael van Gerwen since, as I said, but could and perhaps should have beaten him at the European Championship last year.
Yeah, one of the greatest games we've ever seen at the European Championship.
Anderson nailed the 9, but missed 2 darts for the match.
Beaten 11-10 in the end by MVG, who then smashed his way through the final
140.
and became the European champion for the 4th consecutive year, just as he's been the Dutch darts master for 4 consecutive years, and looking to make it 5 because a maximum leaves him 100.
In between those 2 matches we just mentioned, the most recent win and the most recent defeat, Anderson's also suffered defeats at the World Match Play, 2 European Tours, including this one last year, and 2 World Series events in Australia at the hands of Michael van Gerwen.
Oh, tops! It is sometimes too easy for this man. 2 tops, 2-0, too much for Kyle Anderson.
140.
The final semi-final spot up for grabs here. Darrell Gurney awaiting the winner.
You were commentating on Kyle's game against Cameron Menzies. Can you sum it up in a word, Murph?
Mental.
Can you sum it up in a sound?
The sound is just one of speechlessness, silence.
No, he can't.
Actually, what I will say for Kyle Anderson is he got it all together in the last leg, and it was bizarre and very, very scrappy. Neither player was able to produce anything like their C game in that match. But in the last leg, Kyle Anderson took the initiative and looked the more experienced and more talented player.
Right, Cameron Menzies was 4-1 up, averaging 79, and then he just carried on playing at that level right the way through the game, and it's just Kyle got his act together, didn't he, and found a way to turn it round.
Anderson's hammered in more 180s than anyone in the field in this tournament, 13 going into this match. And he's going to need a few more of them, isn't he?
He needs one here to leave a finish, and he's not going to get it. And this looks like 3-0.
76.
And it is 3-0, 15 darter on throw, as it was in the first leg. That sandwiches a 12 dart break, and it means that Kyle Anderson, if he wanted to be 3-0 up in this game, he'd have had to be averaging 125, and he's not, he's averaging 92.
Anderson, as we said, has got close to Michael van Gerwen on several occasions, beaten him twice. The very first meeting between the pair was a 6-0 win for Michael van Gerwen, and Anderson might be fearing now that this one is going to go the same way.
Is Michael van Gerwen the most experienced man in world darts at knowing what it takes to come through these long days on the Euro Tour, final day where you play 1 in the afternoon and 3 games in the evening session? He's just nailed it. He knows how to do this, and yeah, he's not been anywhere near his best this weekend, but he's better than anybody else at knowing what to do and how to get yourself up for these final sessions. And just like he did last weekend, he is averaging 110. He did this all night in Sindelfingen last Sunday night and smashed his way to the title.
Well, only a handful of players have beaten Michael van Gerwen so far this year, and none of them are in this field. You'll be looking around that practice room just thinking, well, I just want to get the job done. And bullseye for the 127.
102.
Anderson might get a double here.
110.
A gift from the green machine. But Anderson not home to signs for the delivery, and Michael van Gerwen
25.
looking for another break. Double 4.
21.
And now the Australian will get a chance to get a leg on the board.
First dart at double in the match for K.Anderson.
He's shown the full play.
Now down.
K.Anderson. Deflect Michael to
The point at which
reverse.
many darts players throw their worst darts may have been illustrated in that match. Take away the 1-4-3 finish, but may have been
96.
illustrated in that match for Steve Lennon when he started to feel the pressure of the occasion. Michael van Gerwen often throws his best darts in those situations. The point at when he throws his worst darts is seemingly when he starts to get bored.
Yeah.
And having raced into a 3-0 lead here, finding it all too easy, perhaps there is a chance that he could lose a bit of concentration and focus. Take his foot off the pedal a little bit.
There is a chance of that. Now, you mentioned an interesting thing. Michael van Gerwen was in the practice room. Oh, hello. Hello, K.Anderson. K.Anderson, the man who hit a 9-darter in the semi-final of the European Championship against Michael van Gerwen in an incredible game where he had matched darts. He stood on the brink of his first major final. He produced perfection.
And he might be about to see the leg fall by the wayside when Michael van Gerwen takes out the big fish.
7 perfect darts for K.Anderson. 3 perfect ones from MVG makes it 4-1. There's one of them. Oh, he wanted it. You could tell how much he wanted it.
Only requires 60.
Well, he threw a second in the treble 20 just for good measure to leave himself 30. But he won't return, and Anderson is returning into the match.
He is returning into the match
Six
because
legs
that
out
is a
to
break of
reverse.
throw, and he is throwing
Game
to
on.
level. And at 3-0 down, and Michael van Gerwen averaging around about the 109 mark, it looks like we might get a very, very, very swift fourth quarter final here. Credit to K.Anderson, who's dug deep.
I thought we were going to see the role reversal there of the Gary Anderson-Michael van Gerwen match, where MVG was on a 9-dart leg and Gary Anderson took out 170.
Yeah, Gary Anderson and Michael van Gerwen averaging 110 in that match in the Premier League. MVG did emerge victorious, although Anderson got a bit of revenge in the final week of the league stage of the Premier League in Aberdeen just on Thursday night. And it sets it up intriguingly for Thursday night in the playoff finals. They've been kept apart by that victory for Gary Anderson in the semis. And to be honest, when you look at the injury problems Michael Smith and Rob Cross are suffering, the form of the pair of them compared to Gary Anderson and Michael van Gerwen, you kind of think it looks like an MVG Ando final, but I'm not going to make that prediction because Michael Smith has found ways to win games in the Premier League this season, and Rob Cross found ways to win every game at the World Championship.
58.
Ooh. Well, I never.
Frustration from Michael van Gerwen, because he's found himself in a fight that 5 minutes ago he didn't think he'd be in.
The socks are being pulled up by MVG. It's like the old Phil Taylor chewing his flights. That means something needs to change here.
100.
Well, all that might be about to change is Michael van Gerwen seeing his lead vanish. Anderson's going to need a treble here.
59.
And doesn't find one, so van Gerwen now favourite to restore a couple of leg cushion.
90.
We saw him attempt 95 in leg one, a double-double finish. We saw him take out a double-double finish.
120.
Well, K.Anderson would have been looking at the 18s ball normally, but he thought, I'll fill that up just to get a bit of noise and try and put MVG off, and it's cost him because he's Robin Hooded himself. Very unfortunate. Michael van Gerwen once again trying to go double-double, but doesn't get it. And so Carl could have been coming back and looking at 70 or maybe 30, but as it is, he might only get a dart at bull. And you remember those 3 bullseye finishes he hit to beat van Gerwen last time he beat him on the Euro Tour?
65.
Well, he couldn't find one there.
Michael Eurofoy 40.
Van Gerwen finds double top.
Michael van Gerwen.
And Anderson, having clawed his way back into the contest,
Simplex Michael to
finds
reverse.
himself 4-2 behind, with van Gerwen throwing to restore a 3-leg lead.
140.
Has MVG had his little wobble? As he said, Carl, you've had your fun now. Let's get this won.
121.
He certainly found his range once again.
97.
But Anderson has picked his game up slightly. Just finding
92.
trebles a bit more often than he was earlier on in the piece.
140.
Needs a couple here to leave any kind of outs.
140. Might be 124.
Well, he's got one. So's MVG. Bullseye once.
99. I only require 148.
K.Anderson won a Players' Championship final against Kevin Payne, so took out 148 twice in that match. Couldn't find a double 14.
34. Might be 25.
It would have been for a break of throw.
9.
Could still break the
I
throw.
only require 14.
Gets away with it, K.Anderson. Decides to split. Doesn't work out. I think he was looking at the 6, wasn't he? And he's pulled it into the 10. It's an insurance shot. But you could tell by the hesitation he didn't want to go for double 2 and double 1. And he is punished now. And K.Anderson, if you're going to beat the best player in the world, you have to take your chances. He missed the dart at bullseye for the 90 in the previous leg.
Game on.
He's missed some there, and Michael van Gerwen tried to go first in this leg as well.
Yeah, get out of the way, said K.Anderson. Give me a chance.
140. 140.
140's exchanged at the start of this leg, which Michael van Gerwen will hope to be the last.
60.
Well, whatever happens, it's been very encouraging to see K.Anderson playing some good darts again.
100.
He'd only made one quarter-final this year prior to this weekend. But I think his wait for a semi-final is going to have to go on for a bit longer. Because the last time he did make a semi-final was the European Championship, when he played that incredible game and still was beaten by MVG. And it looks as if he's going to get beaten again by the world's best player, who's left 42 for the match.
Well, it started in spectacular style. Could finish it off here with an 11-dart leg. A dozen will do, and a dozen does very well for Michael van Gerwen, who moves through to the semi-finals of the Dutch Darts Masters, continues his bid to win this title for a 5th consecutive season. K.Anderson departs at the quarter-final stage, a 6-2 win for the world number 1. He'll take on Daryl Gurney in the second semi-final. The first one is coming up in a few moments' time. That is between Steve Lennon and Kim Huybrecht. Stay tuned here at the Dutch Darts Masters.
Ja, dames en heren, we gaan afscheid nemen van een man die we ongetwijfeld nog veel vaker terug gaan zien. Geef een hartelijk applaus uit Australië, K.Anderson. Vanmiddag zeiden we nog, het is het niet helemaal. Ik heb nu bij fases het wel een beetje gezien.
Ja, met fases, maar weet je het uiteindelijk om gaat? Het gaat eruit dat je straks wint. En het maakt niet uit wat je de rest doet, als je maar zorgt dat je wedstrijd overleeft. En dat doe ik. Ik laat niks speciaals zien, maar ik win wel mijn wedstrijden. En dat is ook af en toe heel belangrijk.
4 jaar op rij gewonnen. Weet jij nog van wie je de laatste verloor bij de Dutch Darts Masters?
Nee, en dat interesseert me ook eigenlijk vrij weinig. Het gaat erover wanneer je hebt gewonnen, niet wanneer je hebt verloren.
No doubt. Michael, again in the semi-final of the Dutch Darts Masters, you won the last 4 editions in a row. You're looking set for 5 now.
I hope so. If they keep supporting me, I'll be alright, because my darts are not going that well yet, but I hope I can show a little bit more later on. I'm still in the tournament. The format's going up. I like that. So I'm looking forward to later on.
We gaan hem dadelijk terugzien in de halve finale. Dames en heren, Michael van Gerwen.